Ya, Assalamualaikum to Dr. Afiza. My name is Muhammad Irfan Hakim bin Ibrahim. My metric number is AS10416. Today, I will tell you about thyroid and parathyroid glands. What is thyroid glands? This is thyroid glands. Thyroid glands are located in front of our trachea. We can look at this. This is our trachea. This is called cartilage, and behind this is thyroid gland located in front of our trachea. So thyroid gland produce thyroxine hormone and triiodothyronine hormone, which called T4 and T3. What is T4 and T3 produced to? T4 and T3 regulate body metabolism and growth and differentiate our tissues. So this is what will be happen when T3 and T4 are produced less by thyroid gland. So the first one is cretinism, or the scientific name is congenital hypothyroidism. This is happen to babies. Babies who get this disease, we can look to their physical body, which is short and stocky, or they are intellectually disabled. This is not the only one disease can be happen when we have lack of T3 and T4. Have two more disease can be happen, which is endemic goiter and exothelmic goiter. This is disease can be happen when our thyroid gland produce less or not enough T3 and T4 hormone. Alright, next is hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, what is hypothyroidism? Hypothyroidism is a condition in which the thyroid gland is not able to produce enough thyroid hormone. Like I show to you, this is endemic goiter and exothermic goiter. Not enough T4 and T3. Also like hypothyroidism. So the symptoms like weight gain, loss of hair, or slower heart rate. Slower heart rate are very dangerous to people or to any humans, because when you have a slower heart rate, your breathing have a problem. So you are more weakness than a normal person. Next is hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is which our thyroid gland produce more or produce too much hormone thyroxine. So the symptoms can we look is a goiter at here, or swelling, which is we can see at egg leg like this, or you can have a breathing problems too. Same like hypothyroidism. Hyperthyroidism also have a breathing problems. You're more hunger, because you're more hunger than before, but your weight loss because thyroid gland is produce too much hormone thyroxine. Alright, next is calcitonin. What is calcitonin? When calcitonin can be happen? Alright, this is the fact. That hormone is produced in humans by the parafollicular cells, which is we call commonly known as C cells. So, alright, I know you are not understand, but I will encourage you. Alright. Blood calcium level is high and low. When blood calcium level is high, so our thyroid gland release calcitonin, and calcitonin, so our blood calcium become low to the where the calcium needed. When it's low, when the blood calcium is low, but parathyroid glands release PTH. What is PTH? I show you. This is PTH. PTH is hormone released by parathyroid glands. When you can look this, low calcium in blood stimulates of PTH. Like I said before, when your blood calcium level is low, so your parathyroid glands release the PTH hormone, which is parathyroid hormone. When parathyroid hormone is released, so our blood calcium increased to the level needed by our body. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning everyone. Today I will be continuing our presentation, which is adrenal gland. But before I start, I want you guys to open your Mother Biology textbook page 755. Okay, in this figure, we can see that adrenal gland sits atop the kidney, and adrenal gland consists of two portions, which is the inner portion and the outer portion. The inner portion is called adrenal medulla and the outer portion is called adrenal cortex. The size of our adrenal gland is about 5 cm long, 3 cm wide, and it weighs about 5 grams. How many portions? As I just said before, it consists of inner portion and outer portion. What are these functions of inner portion and outer portion? Firstly, adrenal medulla will react during emergency reaction, while adrenal cortex will involve in regulation, salt and water balance. Adrenal medulla. As I said before, adrenal medulla reacts during emergency reaction. Therefore, during emergency, hypothalamus will send nerve impulse to many organs and it will include adrenal medulla. Then, adrenal medulla will secrete epinephrines, adrenaline, and noradrenaline into the bloodstream. Then, these two hormones will continue to respond to stress throughout the body. For example, it will accelerate the breakdown of glucose to form ATP. Then, it will trigger the mobilization of glycogen reserve in skeletal muscle. Then, it will increase the cardiac rate of force of contraction. Okay, moving on to adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex has 2 points, which is glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. First, I will start with glucocorticoids. Cortisol is the most important glucocorticoid produced by human adrenal cortex. Cortisol will raises the blood level in 2 ways. That's why it is important, because it promotes the breakdown of muscle protein to amino acid, and it will also promote catabolism of fatty acid rather than carbohydrate, and this one will spare the glucose. Glucocorticoid also counteract the inflammatory response. Mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids is produced by adrenal cortex to regulate salt and water balance. Aldosterone is the most important of mineralocorticoids, and aldosterone primarily targets kidney, where it promotes renal absorption of sodium and renal excretion of potassium. So remember, if glucocorticoid, cortisol is the most important one, and if mineralocorticoids, aldosterone is the most important one. I'm going to talk about regulation of blood pressure and volume in mineralocorticoids. It has 2 situations, which is when you have high blood sodium ion and low blood sodium ion. But I will explain high blood sodium ion first. So, when you have high blood sodium ion, the heart will secrete ANH into the blood, and then ANH will cause our kidney to excrete sodium ion and water in urine. Therefore, our blood pressure will be lowered and it will return back to normal. And the second situation is when we have low blood sodium ion. Then, kidney will secrete renin into the blood. As you guys remember, in chapter 36, renin is an enzyme that convert angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Angiotensin 1 will convert angiotensin 2. Then angiotensin 2 will cause adrenal cortex to secrete aldosterone into the blood. Aldosterone will cause kidneys to reabsorb sodium ion and water from kidney tubules. Therefore, our blood pressure will be increased and it will return back to normal. Last but not least, diseases and conditions of adrenal cortex. So the first one is Addison diseases. Addison diseases is caused by insufficient secretion of hormone in adrenal cortex. But the symptom is bronze pigmentation, weight loss, weakness. And Addison disease can be fatal. And the second one is Cushing syndrome. Cushing syndrome is caused by excessive level of glucocorticoids, and it can also be caused by tumors. And the obvious symptoms are moon face, fat deposited at the back, osteoporosis, thin skin. And in conclusion, you need to remember about mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, adrenal cortex, adrenal medulla, and by that, I end my presentation with Assalamualaikum, and I hope you enjoy my presentation and stay safe, everyone.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Shafi Haziq bin Muhammad Fauzi, and I will be presenting about pancreas. Okay, first, we must ask ourselves what is pancreas? A pancreas is a slender fish-shaped organ. It composed of two types of tissue. First, exocrine tissue. What is exocrine tissue? It produces and secretes digestive juice. Second is endocrine tissue, or also known as pancreatic islets. What is endocrine tissue? Endocrine tissue is it produces, secretes the hormones insulin and glucagon directly to the blood. Okay, after we ask ourselves where is the pancreas? Pancreas is across the abdomen behind the stomach. It is near the duodenum. Okay, where you must wonder what is insulin and what is glucagon. Okay, insulin, it's secreted when there is a high blood glucose level. It also stimulates the uptake of glucose by cells. Okay, what happened when it all have been stimulated? The liver and muscle cells stores glucose from blood as glycogen. Second, the fat cells use glucose from blood to form fat. Okay, what is glucagon? Glucagon is secreted usually between meals when glucose is low. It stimulates the liver to break down glycogen to glucose. What happened? It uses fat and protein in preference to glucose as energy sources. And it also did what happened? Adipose tissue cells break down fat to glycerol and fatty acids. These products, liver take it for glucose formation. Okay. This is what happened in our pancreas. When our pancreas has higher the blood glucose level than the normal one, this will happen. It will stimulate the insulin and body take up into the glucogen. And this what happen when the glucose level are lower than the normal one. Okay, you must wonder, what is diabetes? Diabetes is the one of the famous disease in the global. Diabetes is characterized by an ability of the body cells to take up glucose as they should. What is the symptoms of diabetes? Well, first is fatigue, constant hunger, and weight loss, and other symptoms. Okay, there are two types of diabetes. First is type 1 diabetes, or known as juvenile diabetes, and second is type 2 diabetes. This what happened in type 1 diabetes. This what happened in type 2 diabetes. Okay, type 1 diabetes, in simple words, type 1 diabetes is caused by other agents such as virus. As for the type 2 diabetes, it is mostly like on genetic, and it is familiar in certain ethnics or family. This is what happened. This is the visual of what happened in type 1 diabetes. While this is on the type 2 diabetes, what happened? The visual in our cells. Okay, thank you. That's all from me.
Hi everyone, I hope you are fine at home. So for today, I'm Abdul Hafiz Husaini gonna present to you about testes and ovaries. So in this slide, let's figure out what are the pictures. Okay, firstly, this is ovaries and this is testes. So actually, who are controlling them? Actually, the activity by them is controlled by hypothalamus and pituitary. So let's move to the next slide. So in this slide, we should know the characteristic and function of testes and ovaries. Firstly, testis is located at the scrotum and it is produced androgens. For example, testosterone. Testosterone is actually the male sex hormone. So how about ovaries? Ovaries is located at pelvic cavity. So it produces estrogen and progesterone. So the function is it is a female sex hormone. So let's move to the next slide. So now we're gonna talk about the importance of sex hormone. Firstly, sex hormone is provide feedback. For example, in the secretion of GnRH, or known as gonadotrophin releasing hormone, is give feedback. Same goes to the secretion of FSH and LH. So the feedback is actually controlled by the sex hormone. So that is why the sex hormone is important. So let's move to the next slide. So now we're going to talk about the function of testosterone. Firstly, the function of testosterone is to maintain male secondary sex characteristic. For example, in larynx and vocal cord enlargement, we can compare between 9-year-old boy and 19-year-old boy, which has different voice. So after that is growth of facial, axillary, and pubic hair. It is compared by which is 19-year-old have beard and mustache. So next, the testosterone also stimulate the activity of oil and sweat glands. After that, the testosterone also responsible for muscular strength. For example, the testosterone is also taken by some athletes such as bodybuilder, but it has some negative impact to their body. So let's move to the next slide. So in this slide, we're going to talk about estrogen and progesterone functions. Firstly, the function is to stimulate the growth of the uterus and vagina. This is happen during the time of puberty. So it's also discharge of blood and mucosal tissue from uterus. It also pelvic girdle is wider, resulting in large pelvic cavity, which is happening during the time of puberty. And then necessary and egg maturation. It will also require for breast development and regulation of uterine cycle during the time of puberty. So it also responsible for the secondary sex characteristic. And lastly, it is greater accumulation of fat beneath the skin. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, in this slide, I'm going to talk about the effect of anabolic steroid. So firstly, what is this? This is actually the anabolic steroid. So for men, the effect of anabolic steroid is in breast enlargement, reduced testicular size, low sperm count, and impotency. In women, it deepening in voice, increased size of ovaries, cessation of ovulation, and menstruation. So the disease that caused by the anabolic steroid is liver dysfunction and cancer, and also high blood pressure, cholesterol, and atherosclerosis. So don't consume it because it had a lot of negative impact to our body. So that's all from me. If you have any questions, you can directly message me or WhatsApp me. So don't forget to study at home, stay safe, and I miss you guys. Thank you. See you soon.
Let's continue our presentation. I will tell you about the pineal gland. Pineal gland is located deep in human brain. Pineal gland will produce hormone melatonin that primarily at night. The pineal gland involved in daily sleep-wake cycle that called circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm controlled by an internal timing mechanism called a biological clock. Normally, melatonin level is highest at night, so we sleep at night. Then, melatonin levels are low at daylight, so it helps us to stay awake. Next, circadian rhythm disorder. It's normally happen to a person when the person travel across the multiple time zone or working night shift. Usually, the person have symptoms like difficult to fall or stay asleep. Other than that, the person will lack of energy in the morning and difficult to concentrate on something. Other than that, some people have trouble to get up or oversleep. Next, I will tell you about the thymus. Thymus is important to immune system and endocrine system. This organ is most active and can reach a larger size during childhood. But when we getting older, the thymus will getting smaller and become fatty. Lymphocytes that originate in the bone marrow, then it passes through the thymus become T lymphocyte. The lobus secrete hormone called thymosin that this hormone aids in the differentiation of T lymphocyte packed inside the lobus. This. There are three hormones from other organ or tissue. The first is leptin. Leptin is a peptide hormone produced by adipose tissue throughout the body. Leptin acts on hypothalamus where it signals satiety or fullness. Leptin could be used to control obesity in humans. Unfortunately, the trial have to yield satisfactory result because of the obesity person get a genetic mutation or their hypothalamic cell lack of suitable number of receptor for leptin. The second hormone is erythropoietin or EPO that secreted by kidney. EPO responds to a low blood oxygen level. EPO stimulates the production of red blood cells in the bone marrow. So people have anemia may be effectively treat with injection of recombinant EPO. Next, athletes use EPO to improve performance because EPO increases the oxygen carry capacity of the blood. The last hormone from other organ or tissue is prostaglandin. Prostaglandin are potent chemical signal produced in cell from arachidonate or a fatty acid. They act locally quite close to where they were produced. For example, in the uterus, prostaglandin causes muscle contraction that involve in the pain and discomfort when women had period. So at the end of this topic, students will understand how the angiostensin, aldosterone system rise blood pressure and others. So I think that's all for me. Thank you.